The going home episode of Monday Night Raw before WWE Clash of Champions starts with Roman Reigns. As he fucking heads out, gets into the ring, gets a mic, about to talk, and gets interrupted. So I'm like, maybe this night has a little bit of hope since he was stopped to talk on the fucking microphone. Because he should stay away from the mic and from the world title scene as far away from both as fucking possible. He should just stay away from both of those, in my opinion. In a lot of people's opinion, that's just the way it is with Roman Reigns. But Stephanie interrupts, she comes out, and then followed by Mick Foley. And it's like, okay, look, why didn't they just come out at the same time? Why did they both have to fucking have introductions here? I don't understand that. Please, stop wasting fucking time with this show here and just get it under the fucking road. So, yeah, Mick wants to make it right, and Stephanie kind of agrees with him. So, therefore, Mick Foley makes a match for Clash of Champions between Roman Reigns and Rusev. Duh. Who the fuck didn't think that was going to happen after fucking last week? Because that's what Reigns' gripe was all about. It was all about Rusev. But, one more thing. Mick Foley actually makes a match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns for later on in tonight's main event. And it's like, But, Stephanie makes sure that the Universal Championship was not on the line. But, Mick Foley puts that shit in a fucking steel cage. Okay, fine. Why is Roman Reigns in the main event? Why is he in the main event? But anyway, so, yeah, Kevin Owens comes down. He's like, I don't see why I should. Well, before the steel cage announcement, fucking Kevin Owens was like, I don't see why I should face Roman Reigns. He doesn't deserve it. I beat him twice last week. Once by disqualification and then once by pinfall. Yeah, that is true. But nevertheless, that match was made steel cage for later on in the night, and it's like, ugh, goodness, fuck. So, after that, you have Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon kind of have a little discussion and a disagreement about putting those two motherfuckers in a cage right before an actual pay-per-view. When Rusev come up, Rusev upset, Rusev what the fuck, Rusev Roman Reigns, he gets another shot at my U.S. title. Rusev, look, again, there wasn't going to be any ifs, ands, or buts about it. We already knew that Roman Reigns was going to get the shot. As long as he stays away from the world title scene, that's fine. But I just hope that, anyway, more on that later. Mick Foley just sends Rusev out to the ring because he's about to face Seth Rollins. Because of the perpetrators that interfered in last week's match, had to face each other this week. So Seth Rollins versus Rusev equals in a double countout. Okay, fine. You have both of them going in strong. You have both of them that didn't lose anything from this fucking match. It was a pretty good standard matchup for the start of the fucking show. The thing about the beginning of tonight's Raw, it kind of turned off the show for a bit. Motherfuckers lost interest after the fucking beginning of the fucking show. Even though Seth versus Rusev was okay and it ended in a double count out, and they tried to bring back some old school type of thing with the double count out and them working their way up to the fucking announcer's table and to the stage, and they battled there, and it's like, okay, fine, with Seth Rollins getting the upper hand. They're trying to make the smooth transition for him to be an ultimate face. I see what they're doing. And apparently it's working because the crowd was totally into that shit. So, double count out, and it's like, alright, fine. Nobody loses any steam between Rusev and Rollins. Fine. I hear that. I understand. Moving on. So, they actually showed a double pin from last week between Bayley and Sasha during the triple threat for the number one contendership for the Women's Raw Championship. And I was like, okay, bravo for acknowledging that and not making us look fucking stupid, that we can just look at any time and see that there was a double pin. So there was controversy there. So, yeah, Charlotte was complaining about it. and Dana was complaining about it. Why are they still together? Dana should have just broke off on her own. But it came to the point where Dana just mentioned that, hey, they should face each other again, and so on and so forth. But no, Mick Foley makes it a triple threat match for Night of Champions. Duh. Not Night of Champions. Clash of Champions. It's funny because I'm not the only one that's made that mistake. More on that later. But at Clash of Champions, it will be a triple threat match for the Women's Raw Championship between Bayley, Sasha, and Charlotte. Tear the house down, ladies. Please let these women tear the house down. Please let that be one of the fucking best matches of the night. Please. Please. But moving on with that. Okay, fine. You had Owens and you had Jericho in the back. Jericho is going to have a list of Jericho. He's going to address Mick Foley with this list as far as him doing a terrible job, and yeah, he's going to get it. Those two, Owens and Jericho, they cracked me up. But after that, you have Braun Strowman versus Sin Cara. Why? And why? Either bring Kalisto to Raw or send Sin Cara to SmackDown. Form the Lucha Dragons again. Please do that, because we're not going to... Because Kalisto is nowhere to be fucking found ever since he got molested by Baron Corbin, and we can't even take Sin Cara seriously on Raw. We just can't. It's just... Especially if he's being fed to Braun Strowman. Quick shout out to Blaze and Matt Bunsky, by the way, because they said in one of their podcasts that Braun Strowman looks like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds. Which is fucking true. I can just imagine that big bearded motherfucker screaming, "Nerds!" But I digress. Sin Cara, man, fuck. So, there was an actual tag team match between Charlotte and Dana versus Sasha and Bayley, which Charlotte and Dana actually won. Nice twist. I actually applaud that, because even though there is dissension, even though there is turmoil between Charlotte and Dana, they end up with the upper hand, thinking that everything is going to go a little bit smoother to fucking Clash of Champions. Fine. Yeah, have us think that. Maybe try to trick us into thinking so. Dana is probably going to try to help Charlotte and cost her that championship to one of those other two ladies. It may happen. It may not. I may be wrong. Anyway. So, after that, Seth and Steph fucking have a conversation in the office. Brings back old times. Seth basically tries to manipulate his way into questioning Stephanie again about Triple H's actions. So if you can't see where this is going to be going at Clash of Champions, then I don't know where your head is at this point in the main event of Clash of Champions. I don't understand how you cannot see Triple H showing up again in this match, causing Seth Rollins the match and the championship. Seth Rollins called the event Night of Champions, by the way, just like I did earlier in this fucking review/report. Oh well. And he did it on camera just as I did. Fuck the edit. No editing, no garbage. No. That they just can't say, hey, take two. No, they're not going to do that again. Fine. So, Bo Dallas beats a jobber. Ugh. But before that, I want to touch on the Seth Rollins segment. They basically touched up on why Triple H did what he did. Maybe. Yeah. Triple H handpicked Seth Rollins from the Shield. Basically hyped him up. But, again, the reason why the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is on SmackDown was because of Seth Rollins losing it. He got cashed in on. He lost. And then he lost against Finn Balor. Yeah, fair and square. He lost. So, maybe Triple H did what he did, and because Seth was ruining Triple H's reputation. Triple H has a reputation to ruin? Anyway. Yeah, and Stephanie was like, do I think Kevin Owens should be the champion right now? Yes. Do I think he replaced you? Yes. Pretty powerful, but still not fucking convincing enough. It just wasn't. But Bo Dallas beats a jobber. I don't need to go any further than that. I don't believe in Bo. Sorry. Until you give me a good match with someone that's actually fucking worthy for a push, fuck that. Okay? Cesaro beat Sheamus for the so now it's 3-3. Look, I don't have to go any further than that. We knew that this was coming. We knew it was going to be settled at the fucking pay-per-view. We know it's going to be settled at Clash of Champions. Fucking okay? Ugh. Anyway, so Jericho and Foley backstage, the list of Jericho, and that led up to a couple of comedy type of statements and so on and so forth. Yeah, you always hated me. No, I don't. I didn't always hate you. No, fuck. Hey, I'm the one that recommended you to Paul Heyman, and yeah, it went through some history there. But at the end of the day, it was still another backstage segment that didn't need to take place. But the next segment was, oh my god, look, it was a big clusterfuck of a segment between Jericho, Enzo and Cass, the Shining Stars, the New Day, Epic, god damn it, Anderson Gallows, and Sami Zayn had the best part because he came out and he didn't say a fucking word. This segment led up to a match, but the funniest thing about that is this segment between all those guys lasted just as long as the fucking match did. Seriously. This 5-on-5 match lasted a little bit long than the 5-on-5 segment. I thought they need to do a better job stretching out the time here. They need to just come out, get to the point, lead to a match, if so. Make some better insults so the crowd can get into it more. Don't drag segments out, please. And, of course, the faces ended up winning. Wow. So one of the Shining Stars actually got fucking pinned this week. Enzo and Cass actually was on a winning side. And here's another note. By the time Clash of Champions shows up, I believe that the New Day will surpass 400 days as tag team champions. Good feat on the part of the New Day. Most motherfuckers didn't think that they would last this long on a single reign. This is their second reign as tag team champion, but this is a part of a single reign over 400 days. Bravo. But I'll get to my prediction video in a couple of days to let you know who I think is going to win off Anderson and Gallows in the New Day. So you get the cruiserweights introduced by Mick Foley. Okay, fine. The cruiserweights are now on Raw, and now he introduced Rich Swann. You got Grand Metalik, you have Cedric Alexander, and you have the returning Brian Kendrick. Now, I like the way that they didn't try to insult our intelligence about Brian Kendrick. He has been a former WWE Tag Team Champion before. He was one of the longest ever. Again, Brian Kendrick and Paul London were SmackDown Tag Team Champions for well over a year, running through every team that was in their way, and they were exciting to watch. So I like WWE for pointing out the fact that Kendrick has been there before. They pointed out his age, and he was the only heel in the match, which took place in Fatal 4-Way rules between those four to determine who was going to be the number one contender to face TJ Perkins at Clash of Champions. Bravo that they picked Brian Kendrick because he was the only fucking heel in the match. Everybody was either trying to entertain or trying to wow us with moves. But when it's all said and done, Brian Kendrick was the logical pick in this case. Even though he may or may not win on Sunday, who knows? But he was just the right pick because he's already established. He always will be a threat in the cruiserweight division as long as he's there. Because the way he is, he's a heel, and I like that part of him, and he showed it during the fucking match. So they showed footage of last week, Nia Jax destroying Alicia Fox, and now they have a match at not Night of Champions, Clash of Champions. Why is that on a pre-show, mind you? Why is that shit taking place? Is it actually going to be a fucking match this time, or is Alicia just going to get thrown all over the place like before? The footage is just as good as a Nia Jax match. So, anyway, oh wow, the absence of Jinder Mahal this week. Oh, he has a big win against Jack Swagger, and now he's nowhere to be found. Garbage, total garbage. Speaking of garbage, Roman Reigns against Kevin Owens in a steel cage. Now look, to put Roman Reigns over, especially at the eve of a pay-per-view, the going home episode of Raw before fucking pay-per-view against the Universal Champion, is very, very confusing to me. They're trying to establish Roman Reigns, and no, it's not. That ship has fucking sailed, okay? Stop. And for him to win the main event again, even though he didn't close the main event out technically, because after the fucking match, there was hardly anything wrong with the match. I just didn't like the fucking outcome. Fuck degrading everybody, especially your fucking champions, to Roman Reigns. Stop it. Fuck, man. Ugh. But anyway, after the match, Rusev comes down with a chain, tries to attack Roman Reigns, and Roman gets the upper hand until Kevin Owens hits him with the door of the cage, and they put him in the cage, and they lock the cage door. Seth Rollins comes out and basically does a crossbody to both, and all four motherfuckers are still trapped in the ring, and the show ends. And it's like, okay, did they raise the cage? And then, no, there's no friendship between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at this point. There's been a rumor that the Shield is going to reunite, most likely by the Royal Rumble, but stay tuned for that, if that fucking happens. If they're going to reunite, I would rather them reunite as heels than faces. That's just me. But tonight's Raw, man. Well, the Raw for September fucking 19th, 2016. There was just... there's too much clusterfuck on this going home. It's like they couldn't pack in everybody that matters within 3 hours. Are you serious? Okay, got a couple of new matches. A change in one match, and a cruiserweight match, and a pre-show match, and it's like, okay, yeah, we have the best of 7 decider. Anyway, in a couple of days, I'm going to make my prediction video for fucking Clash of Champions, and fuck, if it's anything like this Raw, it is not going to be a good pay-per-view. Tell me what you thought about this event in the comments below. I would like to hear or read opinions, because fuck, man, they've got to do something in order to hook me totally, as far as saying, okay, Sunday I'm going to watch this no matter what, and eat me and drink me some alcohol, eat me some chili dogs with Fritos on them. Shout out to you, Blaze and Melfunsky. Yeah, my boys. And fucking, God, I don't know if I'm going to tune in. I just don't. But let me know if you guys are going to tune in, and let me know in the comments below. Quick like, dislike, click subscribe. I mean, fuck, man. This is... Just please improve on this as much as you fucking can. Just, shit. At least the cruiserweights were good. Drop kicks, body slams, throwing motherfuckers over the top rope, both feet hitting the floor. Yes, I'm a wrestling fan. This is the theme, and I'll see you later. Credits.